Adventure Time's 7th season has concluded, and it was chock full of fantastic episodes. I'm gonna recap 5 personal favorites that resonated with me the most. Stakes was a great miniseries, and for my number 5 spot, I had a difficult time picking out which episode from Stakes was my favorite. I adored the comical combat and Hierophant's transformations in Let Me In, but Take Her Back was also hilarious and had phenomenal dream sequences. And of course, Everything Stays gave us a tragic glimpse into Marceline's past. But in the end, my personal favorite would have to be Vamps About. There's something extremely memorable and fun for me about seeing all the vampires together, bickering about their perspectives and desires, each with their own individual quirks. Before the vampires separate for the rest of the miniseries, their group dynamic was established, and we also acquired an understanding of each vampire as an individual character and what their powers are. It's an amazing setup for the Kill Bill style scenario that's gonna go down for the rest of the miniseries. Marceline makes for an interesting hero because she's so set on eliminating the vampires without a shred of discussion, even when they're being non-hostile. Marcy's backstory justifies this behavior superbly, and the scene that demonstrates this best is her desperate moments before she acquires an immortal existence. This dreadful scene is probably the one I remember most vividly from Stakes. Vamps About is the episode that transitions the miniseries from setup to action, and that elevated feeling of excitement as the stakes are established, pun intended, is why the episode snags my number 5 spot. Crossover was, among many things, visually stunning. From the mountain of frozen humans to the Arctic weather clothing Finn and Jake wear, I loved the visual aesthetic and color scheme oh so much. The episode's opening packed a ton of questions and wonder, and the rest of the episode delivered on that intrigue as we revisited the Farmworld timeline. Prismo, Icefin, Billy,
it's Bobby,
Big D, and Jake Lich were all massively enjoyable appearances, and the battle of this episode was the most high-stakes one of the series thus far, as the fates of all dimensions were on the line. Icefin's story was wrapped up with a heartwarming conclusion that amazingly retconned an animation error from the 5th season. And the episode ends on Finn's melancholic longing for the relationships his alternate timeline self has. While the pacing was rough around the edges, probably due to the unnecessary recap at the start, this episode was an emotional roller coaster ride, and I had a blast with it. Varmints was an emotionally powerful episode in which Bonnibel was deeply humanized by having her vulnerabilities laid bare. Bonnie's suppressed feelings about the loss of her kingdom overflow, and her breakdown allows her to confide in Marceline and vice versa. The two manage to give the other strength and soothe their strained relationship. It's just so raw, so tender, and so heartfelt. I love this episode. The comedy, the action, the emotional appeal, everything is top-notch. Of all the episodes centering around the relationship between Bubblegum and Marceline, this one is my favorite. As I said in my review of this episode, I think Varmints embodies the spirit of Adventure Time by providing an incredibly well-executed and touching emotional development layered over an action-filled and amusing escapade. Flute Spell is the first time we have an episode revolving around Huntress Wizard, and it led to Huntress Wizard becoming one of my favorite side characters.
Tell me or I'll put this up your nose.
She's just so flippin' awesome! So, I may be a bit biased in having this episode take the number 2 spot, but only a little. Before we even get to Huntress Wizard, Jake revisits multiple side characters and also performs one of his best songs in the series.
Later in the field at night, I thought I saw death.
For the rest of the episode, Jake stays as a cringe-inducing yet hilarious wingman. That is until the end, where he rejects Huntress Wizard's perspective on love by simply saying,
that's real dumb.
Jake is expressing that romantic love shouldn't be squandered due to other interfering aspects of one's life or the fear of softness. Jake's presence is actually quite the profound addition to this episode. But of course, the episode's central premise is the budding infatuation between Finn and Huntress Wizard, one which has to be discarded as both of them are not ready for a romantic relationship. We get a glimpse into Huntress Wizard's MMS condition. While the sadness and madness is below the surface more so than with many other wizards, she is tormented by a fear of essentially finding contentness and happiness. As for Finn's state of mind,
I agree.
Wait, you agree with me or her?
one could pose the argument that Finn agrees with both Jake and HW to an extent, but it's definitely certain that he agrees and understands HW's perspective. The ending scene itself, when Finn repeats,
Attracting forces come and go, man.
and the entire mood of the last couple scenes paint it as a bittersweet moment for Finn. A relationship did not start, but he got something out of the experience, and it's not as if he lost anything, like the previous romances where he crashed and burned catastrophically. Finn matured. And on top of all those awesome interactions and character development, Flute Spell was a hilarious and wild romp. What a beautiful, well-crafted, and deep episode.
Yep!
The Hall of Egress is my personal favorite episode out of the entirety of Season 7, and this is probably not at all surprising to anybody who's subscribed to me, considering how much time I've spent discussing the episode across multiple videos. The Hall of Egress just packs so much potential depth that interacts with the viewer on a deeply personal level, which allows for varied interpretations of the episode's meaning based on one's own life experiences and perspectives. Discourse about this episode could go on for ages. While far more enjoyable when watched with an eye for nuance, subtext, symbolism, and the rest, at least for me, and I'd hope for most people, the episode can also be watched purely on the surface layer and still be a highly enjoyable experience. The episode is meticulously well crafted, and the pacing is top-notch. The use of fade to black creates a profoundly uneasy feeling, and the sound design reinforces the sense of isolation Finn is subjugated to. This is a terrifying dungeon crawling experience for Finn. I'd wager the most chilling one he's ever had to experience due to the psychological corrosion his mind undergoes. The mental torture Finn bears culminates in a profound and uplifting conclusion. The true appearance of the labyrinth blew me away. It was a visual feast. And the fervid joy Finn feels when he finally reunites with his best friend is infectious. It's a phenomenal end to a phenomenal episode. These 5 episodes are my personal favorites of the season, though geez was it really hard to leave a few exceptional ones out. I gotta give honorable mentions to I Am a Sword and Don't Look, which were other episodes I absolutely loved. Let me know what your favorite episodes of Season 7 are in the comments. Considering the variety this season packed, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different answers. I'm also going to do a video on my 5 least favorite episodes of this season, and if you desire more detailed discussion of the show, check out my full-length episode reviews. Now let's get hyped for Season 8.